for the importance of being earnest is as follows. Mandy, Lady Bracknell.
Come here, Prism.
David, Jack.
Algy's elder brother?
Sally, Gwendolyn.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Ian, Reverend Chasuble.
What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
Liz, Cecily.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Mark, Algy. And Miriam, Miss Prism.
Okay, let's rehearse from the top. Cecily and Gwendolyn. And go.
The fact that they did not follow us at once into the house as anyone else would have done seems to me to show they have some sense of shame left.
They have been eating muffins. That looks like repentance.
They don't seem to notice us at all. Could you not cough?
But I haven't got a cough.
They're looking at us. What effrontery!
They're approaching. That's very forward of them.
Let us preserve a dignified silence.
Certainly. It's the only thing to do now.
This dignified silence seems to produce an unpleasant effect. But we will not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends on your reply.
Right, that's fine. But do be careful to keep the level up. I think we'll go from I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said, Cecily.
An excellent idea. I nearly always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time from me?
Certainly.
1, 2, 3.
Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names? Is that all? But we are going to be christened this afternoon.
For my sake, you are prepared to do this terrible thing?
I am.
To please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal.
I am.
How absurd to talk of the equality of sexes. Where questions of self-sacrifice are concerned, men are infinitely beyond us.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage of which we women know absolutely nothing.
Darling.
Darling.
Gwendolyn, what does this mean?
Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Come here. Sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. Apprise, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by the means of a small coin. I followed her at once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I'm glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture by the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I've never undeceived him on any matter. I would consider it wrong. However, you must clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately. From this moment, on this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm. Never speak disrespectfully of society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. Of course, dear, you realise that Algernon has nothing but his debts to depend on, but I don't approve of mercenary marriages. Why, when I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of my own, but I never dreamt of one moment of allowing that to stand in my way. Oh, well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may kiss me.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
You may also address me as Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
To speak frankly, I am not myself in favour of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of finding out about each other's characters before marriage, which I think is never advisable.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I absolutely decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I might almost say ostentatiously, eligible young man. He has nothing, but looks everything. What more could one desire?
It pains me very much to have to speak frankly to you, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew, but the fact is I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He is an Oxonian.
I fear there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London, on an important question of romance, he obtained admission to my house by means of the false pretense of being my brother. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he was perfectly well aware from the first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother, not even of any kind.
Right, you're lying in a supine position, your spine supported by your legs. Feel ease throughout the body, starting with your feet and ankles, spreading up to your knees, across the pelvis, spreading ease across the chest, your shoulders. Undo all the tension in the back of your neck and your head, and let the energy rise up in your feet, right up through your bodies, right down to your arms, to your fingertips. Breathe in through the nose, extend the back ribs, drop the jaw and the tongue into a neutral position, and gently let the ribs swing down and let the breath out. That's it. Nice and easy. No tension. And guide it at a spot on the ceiling right above your head, and let the air stream project towards that spot and right through the roof.
Gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must be aware that what you ask is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us can look forward to.
That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Come along, dear. We've already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir? Is that not somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? The idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses. Lord Bracknell would be highly displeased if he learned that that was the way in which you spent your time and money.
Am I to understand, then, that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I don't think that as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
I am grieved to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. They savour of the heretical views of the Anabaptists, views that I have completely refuted in 4 of my unpublished sermons. However, as your present mood seems to be one peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell. I'm on my way to join her.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies, and the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I am a celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell, has been for the last 3 years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and a valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She is nigh.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, dear Canon. I've been waiting for you there an hour and 3/4.
Prism? Come here, Prism. Prism, Where is that baby? 28 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104 Upper Grosvenor Street, in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, due to the elaborate investigations of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained the manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than usually revolting sentimentality. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit with shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. The plain facts of the case are these. On the morning of the day you mentioned, a day that has been forever branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in his perambulator. I had with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag in which I had intended to place the manuscripts of a work of fiction I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I shall never forgive myself, I deposited the manuscripts in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
What railway station?
Victoria, the Brighton line.
I must return to my room for a moment. Gwendolyn, wait here for me.
If you are not too long, I will wait here for you all my life.
What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They're hardly considered the thing.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Your guardian has a very emotional nature.
The noise is most unpleasant. It sounds as if he was having an argument. I dislike arguments of any kind. They're always vulgar and often convincing.
It's stopped now.
I do hope you'll arrive at some conclusion.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Miss Prism, is this the handbag? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
It seems to be mine. Yes, here is the injury it received through the upsetting of a Gower Street omnibus in younger and happier days. And here is the stain on the lining caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage, an incident that occurred at Leamington. And here on the lock are my initials. I had forgotten that in an extravagant mood I had had them placed there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It has been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
Miss Prism, more is restored to you than this handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes, Mother.
Mr. Worthing! I am unmarried.
Unmarried? I do not deny that is a serious blow. But after all, who has a right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am?
I'm afraid the news I have to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
Algy's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you have ever doubted that I had a brother? Dr. Chasuble, my unfortunate brother. Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother. Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother. Algy, you young scoundrel. You'll have to treat me with more respect in future. You have never behaved to me like a brother in all your life.
Not until today, old boy, I admit. I did my best, however, though I was out of practice.
My own. But what own are you? What is your Christian name now that you have become someone else?
Good heavens, I had quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose?
I never change except in my affections.
What a noble nature you have, Gwendolen.
Then the question had better be cleared up at once. Aunt Augusta, a moment. At the time when Miss Prism placed me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened. That is settled. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at the moment recall what the General's Christian name was. I dare say he did have one. He was eccentric, I admit, but only in later years. And that was the result of the Indian climate, and marriage, and indigestion, and other things of that nature.
Algy, can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army list of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta?
The General was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life. However, I dare say his name would appear in any military directory.
The army list of the last 40 years are here. These delightful records should have been my constant study. Generals. Mallam, Maxbom, Magley. What ghastly names they have. Markby, Mixby, Mobbs. Moncrief. Lieutenant, 1840. Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General. 1869. Christian names. Ernest. John. I always told you, Gwendolen, my name was Ernest, didn't I? Well, it is Ernest after all. I mean, it naturally is Ernest.
Yes, I remember now the General's Christian name was Ernest. I knew I had a particular reason for disliking the name.
Ernest. My own Ernest. I felt from the first that you could have no other name.
Gwendolen, it is a terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he's been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can, for I feel you are sure to change.
My own one.
Latisha.
Frederick, at last.
Cecily, at last.
Gwendolen, at last.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I've now realized, for the first time in my life, the vital importance of being earnest.
Yes, it has worked. I'm in the bank. I've even sorted the computer.
Great. But remember the drill. Remember the drill.
Ah, this is the tricky one.
What?
The password.
Take it easy and nicely, slowly. Double D 1528.
Double D 1528. We are there. We have actually tapped into the computer.
A license to print money on video screen.
Transfer made, my friend. You're now a millionaire.
We are both millionaires. We share it together. But we are not there yet.
What do you mean?
You have forgotten the most important thing.
What's that?
Destroy the printout.
But I've cancelled.
No, the printout, the paper.
I seem to have got myself locked in here somehow.
What? Tell that to the goddamn judge, not me. From now on, you are going to get rather used to being locked in.
Listen, darling, it's going to be some dull, boring business trip to Geneva.
Oh, not again.
Just deposit some money.
Seems to be the story of your life. Not premium bonds again, is it?
I'm afraid computer keeping up with my number. I'm booking suite in Imperial Palace, just overlooking the lake. Just pack your things and meet you at Terminal 2 at 3:30. Okay? See you, darling. Bye.